Welcome to Nightingale Dementia Consultants. I am Brian Balke of Hypnosis Rising, and this is the fourth Caregivers Briefing. In these briefings, we learn self-care, specifically how to manage the mind as we navigate the challenges of cognitive decline. We seek to sustain emotional harmony with our loved one. As discussed in Session 3, modern society leaves us with inner conflict, the division between conscious and subconscious minds. The conscious mind is the weaker party and not in the know as concerns subconscious needs. This can lead to behaviors that confuse us and those around us. We might be led then to see our subconscious mind as a defect. That isn't helpful. It is in fact our oldest, dearest friend, and it depends upon the conscious mind to provide insights that ensure survival in our complex and competitive world. In this presentation, we will explain how behaviors develop. At the end, we will highlight how to ensure clarity in the messages sent from the conscious to the subconscious. In shifting our focus from doing to being, we begin to heal the divide that originates in elementary school. Let us recall the first priority of the mind. We must learn to interpret sensations and control our body. That is difficult. Worse, the world is not going to adapt to us. It is what it is. And no one gives us a manual that explains how to organize our mind. The only method is to try random things until we discover what works. This is called learning by conditioning. For these reasons, our survival habits are buried deep in the subconscious and networks that are hard to access. That has benefits. When we open our eyes in the morning, we don't think, start the vision network. That happens automatically. If it didn't, we'd have no chance to think about anything else. We can suppress sensation and behaviors. For example, as infants, we say no by pushing with our hands, closing our eyes, and shaking our head. When we learn to speak, those automatic actions are still deep in our bodies. We just suppress them, not always successfully. People that know us well can tell when our yes is half-hearted. Of course, life throws change at us. Some days we get eggs and some days we get cereal. These variations between days are considered at night in dreams. To avoid accidents, movement is turned off while the subconscious replays events and determines which behaviors best serve our survival. This holds true throughout life. Dreams are necessary for behavior change. When we don't sleep soundly, we have trouble learning. Learning through conditioning is slow, and fortunately, parents and teachers share the lessons gained from the past. Our predecessors invested thousands of years in developing language, mathematics, and tools for collaboration. Initially, our learning is concrete. This is red and this is blue. From there, we can learn more creative concepts such as color mixing. As we play with that principle, we eventually arrive at the frustrating result that too much mixing always gives us brown. To get full collaboration, we have to learn why things work. This allows us to break problems up into smaller independent pieces. Each partner produces a piece that is assembled into a complete solution. That sounds easy, but deciding who does what involves political decisions and compromises that sometimes frustrate success. As we have transitioned to a knowledge-based economy, successful collaboration is more important than ever. That is apparent at school. I worked pretty much alone until middle school. Today's children do team projects in elementary school. With the support of our families and community, most of us complete our education in our early 20s. Then comes the big leap, finding a job that allows us to live independently. In agricultural societies, skills were passed along through generations and served for a lifetime. In the information age, we are constantly learning. The complexity of our projects is beyond the mastery of any single person. We specialize our knowledge and rely upon each other to succeed. For most, work shifts from the concrete to the abstract. Rather than digging trenches, we plan and budget, and then design organizations. Remember that all through this process, the brain reallocates resources to what is currently important to us. This allows it to support our success at every stage. It also makes us vulnerable upon retirement. When what we do ends, all those highly developed neural networks begin to decay. Retirement can be a trigger for cognitive decline. The example of retirement should help us understand why other major life changes can affect our personality. The most significant ones, indicated here, involve not only what we do, but how we relate to, but who we relate to and how. To these four familiar changes, we should add caring for a loved one navigating cognitive decline. I had a colleague who returned to work halfway through his paternity leave saying, "I was afraid that if I stayed away the full term, I wouldn't be able to do my job when I came back." He felt as though he was losing his mind. This might lead us to wonder what we can do to ensure that our sense of self is not so dependent on the world around us. That higher sense of self is gained in the shift from doing to being. A nurse may learn to vaccinate patients. The best nurses, though, practice their art because they care for their patients. That caring unites vaccines and bandaging and vital signs. Standing above everything that the nurse does, when they dream of caring at night, they reinforce all those practical skills and prepare themselves to acquire new ones. Caring is needed in many contexts, both professional and personal. This lesson, the self-preserving anchor of virtue, is vitally important to the caregiver. As your loved one loses themselves, what you do is going to change again and again. In shifting emphasis to the virtues that motivate your support for them, your sense of self is more secure. Of course, that also applies to your loved one. In the early stages of the disease, celebration of their virtues can serve as a brake against shame and guilt in later stages. If all that matters is what they do, they lose meaning as they lose skills. When we take joy in who they are, they have meaning in and of themselves. Finally, this can't be said enough. If you can't make sense or solution concerning a difficulty, commit yourself to getting more sleep. Remember that your subconscious is 9 times smarter than your conscious mind. Give it a chance to do its work in dreams. Thank you for being with us today. Hope to see you soon.